Welcome to Virtual Japan as we are here today for round number 6.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 the lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans. Last week we saw 21 drivers come out for the season opener, and today we're at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Spark Truck Series at the Spark Racing League, as we get ready to send out 25 Titans to do battle on the high banks of Atlanta. As always, I'm your host, James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Bring the action 1080p 60 frames a second, as it looks like qualifying has come to a close, and we're going to get these drivers out on track and ready to rock here tonight. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the grid. Starting on pole, Jacob Bradley. Sam Cosner starting second. Rye Jones starts third. Johnny Rapp starting fourth. Devin Jack starts fifth. Chad Waller starting sixth. Robert Brope starting seventh. Richard Holland starting eighth. Peter Stewart starts ninth. Brian Brope starting 10th. Nathan Gentry starting 11th. Evan Pienta, last week's winner, is going to be starting 12th. Let's cycle it on back. Ashton Cosner starting 13th. Dade Grajewski starting 14th. We've got Mr. Ray Beebe starting 15th. Tony Caputo starting 16th. Clifton Simmons starting 17th. Jeremy Rigney starts 18th. Nick Seraph starting 19th. Patrick Hardgrove starting 20th. Chris Smith starts 21st. Robert Amaral starting 22nd. Belshaw starting 23rd. We've got Chase Berry starting 24th. And who's that at the tail end? My old friend Mark Frisch, the number 13 machine. We'll round out the 25 truck field here today. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor or device, and if they don't, they just about always go back and watch, and they can definitely see who's out here. Give them some love and support on the YouTube side of the broadcast. Again, my name's James East. On behalf of the Spark Truck Series, bring the action, Team Goon Squad, 1080p, 60 frames a second, every Wednesday night here at the Spark Truck Series. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen round 2 of the season. Now, last week at Daytona, saw Evan Pienta, Brian Brobst, and Johnny Rapp 1, 2, 3. Gonna be interesting to see how things shape up here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. A little bit tighter, a little bit more technical, but this is not the most recent version of the Atlanta track, so as a driver, I'd say the racing's a little bit better on this older configuration. Now, Johnny Rapp, the number 52 machine, shows to be in pit road. Not sure if he's starting from pit road or maybe serving as race control. That's going to be Bradley and Cosner to the front row, gridded up behind our iRacing safety car. Jones and Waller be your second row now, and Jack and Robert Brobst will make up the third row. We're going to get ready for that iRacing safety car to make its way down pit row. And we are green flag racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now looks like Grajewski, number 6, and Johnny Rapp both going to be starting from pit road here. As we watch Jacob Bradley guarding that inside line. Bradley gets some love from the fans by Mr. Steve Bradley. Join us in the spectator area. And it looks like he's going to hold on to the race lead as Cosner and Jones go side by side for second. You can also see the 66 of Waller, the 49 of Jack, just a couple of rows back here. There's Barney, our flagman, watching on, so the start will be good here at Atlanta. Now, unfortunately, we don't know what the fuel run's going to be for these drivers. Last week at Daytona, we saw a couple of cautions come out. Here's what happens here, the 81-lap feature event. Drivers have 70% fuel capacity in these trucks, as it looks like Bradley and Cosner getting a little bit of a breakaway there. Focusing on Cosner's 00 Ford F-150. Built up about a 3-10 gap over Rye Jones. And Rye Jones has a bunch of drivers behind him. That's Chad Waller glued to his tail in the 166. 49 of Devin Jack up on, on the bottom. Richard Holland up high against the wall. Now, we had an off-track excursion with Nick Serif, but it did not bring out the caution. Serif has been plagued by hardware issues all year long now. Unfortunately for Serif, I think I've called more races where he has hardware issues than those where he has not. Now, Cosner running second, had the fastest lap of the race with a 31.17, just 300ths faster than race leader Jacob Bradley. Good racing all across the track. There's Evan Pienta, Devin Jack battling for the 7th place spot. Right behind them, Robert Brobst, Peter Stewart, Tony Caputo, Jeremy Rigney, Nathan Gentry, Ray Beebe. That's a lot of talent running from about that 7th to 14th place position. Here's Dave Grajewski rolling back out on track as we watch Brian Brobst, Richard Holland side by side trying to eke into the top 5. Like Holland's going to get it there in the 31 machine just past Brian Brobst. Now your top 2, there you go. You can barely see him at the bottom of your screen. That's Bradley and Cosner first and second. That built up a half second. And it looks like Cosner maybe taking a peek for the race lead here as he pulls up alongside Bradley's number 50 machine down the back stretch of Atlanta. So Cosner will take over the race lead here 6 laps in. And that has cost him a little bit of time, about 0.2 of a second. As we're seeing Rye Jones, Chad Waller, Richard Holland, and Brian Brobst just at the tail end of the second pack here. Now I'm trying to see. I don't believe Bradley and Cosner, second and first, are teammates. I was wondering maybe if we saw some on-purpose swapping as the race lead there for fuel numbers. But Rye Jones is in the hot seat here. He's got Richard Holland and Chad Waller trying to split that number 7 machine. Brian Brobst in the number 11 has a great view here of the racing ahead of him. Jones looks like he's going to hold on to the 3rd place spot. As there is a big run from Richard Holland. Pulling up not quite alongside that number 7 machine, but very close. He's got about a quarter of a truck length. As we get closer and closer to side by side, Holland briefly showing in 3rd. Jones might be falling back here slightly as it looks like Holland is going to take over that 3rd place spot. But with this racing back and forth, they're losing ground to the top 2. Cosner and Bradley have built up almost 0.6 over the rest of the field now. A little bit further back in the field, still a very busy racetrack. There's Chris Smith in 12th, just ahead of Nathan Gentry. And it looks like I think it's going to be Ray Beebe, Nathan Gentry, Ashton Cosner, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And you've also got Patrick Hargrove, Tony Caputo, Clifton Simmons all in the mix. Good to see so many familiar names and faces coming out here. The Spark Truck Series. And we've got to report a battle for the lead is underway. Jacob Bradley trying to fire back here against Sam Cosner. Bradley ripping the bottom here at Atlanta. Looks like he's going to make it happen, but a big run there from Cosner gives a bit of a push to Bradley. Maybe looking at the live timing and hearing from his crew chief that with that pass to the lead, Richard Holland in third has gained almost 4/10 of a second. And now Richard Holland is joining the top 3 in proper fashion. We've got 2 drivers side by side. Richard Holland makes the pass on Sam Cosner as Chad Waller was trying to get around Rye Jones. And Jacob Bradley has almost a 6/10 breakaway from the rest of the field. You've got 2nd through about 9th here in quite a tidy pack. Here comes Chad Waller, the number 66. He made the pass on Sam Cosner. Rye Jones going to try and follow suit in that number 7 machine. And you can also see Evan Pienta, Brian Brobst right at the tail of the pack now. This lead pack has about a 6/10 gap up over Robert Brobst, who has Devin Jack leaked up in that number 49 machine. Now I'm curious, are these guys going to start working together to try and track down Jacob Bradley? Or is this just a good old-fashioned dogfight, every man for themselves? There's Richard Holland in 2nd. You can see Jacob Bradley, the Lowe's back number 50 Chevrolet up front. Holland has Chad Waller right behind him in that number 66 Ford F-150. And Rye Jones says Pienta pushing his number 7 machine up towards the front. A pretty heated battle a little bit further back. That is going to be Ray Beebe and Chris Smith side by side. Jeremy Rigney's number 10 Toyota just ahead. Now lap time, 16 laps in, we're starting to see tire fall off start to happen here. On average, drivers are about 3 to 4/10 off their fastest laps of the race so far. I think that was Chris Smith, just drugged the outside wall ever so slightly. And we go back to the 3-truck battle. For 2nd, it's Holland, Jones, Waller. Evan Pienta kind of watching this from behind to see who's going to come out on top. Jacob Bradley still holding on to a comfortable half-second gap over the rest of the field. Now, I would imagine with the fuel numbers we saw at Daytona, we are most likely looking at a 2-stop race here tonight. It'll be interested to see if and when we get some green flag pit stops, as Holland's still able to hold on to 2nd as Jones and Waller side by side for 3rd. A big run for Waller, but nowhere to go as Holland at 31 is still up on the high side just ahead of that 66 machine. Jones stays down low, the 55 of Pienta. Has a large hole in the air being cut out of the way for him, so keep an eye on that. I call that purplish blue, I suppose. Dark, let's call it dark blue and black. 66 of Evan Pienta. Waller and Pienta almost scrape a little paint there in the battle for 4th. And Bradley still out front, running very strong, a half-second up over the rest of the field. But Bradley is going to be burning up a little bit more fuel, pushing that air by himself. But I don't think Holland and Jones are going to be able to do too much fuel saving, as they're still side by side for second. Jones looks like he's going to make it happen on the high side. And Chad Waller with a big run is going to try and scoot on through as well. Now let's see if Evan Pienza, the number 55, is going to be able to make a pass here against Holland. Trying to use that draft of the drivers in front of them. Now this top 5, they have about a 9/10 of a second breakaway from Brian Brobes, who wasn't quite able to grab the draft from this top 5. We've got Sam Cosner, Devin Jack side by side for 7th. Robert Brobes, the number 5 machine, looking for an opening, has the check up slightly to avoid tagging the back of Devin Jack, but there's problems there for Sam Cosner. It looked like he got a little bit loose through 3 and 4. Now here's the game of chess. Our drivers going to work together to try and pull up towards that top 6. Right now, Devin Jack, Robert Brobes, Sam Cosner are about a second back from 6th place driver Brian Brobes. Got Dustin Bally join us in the spectator area. He's asking, can anybody stop Jacob Bradley? Right now, Bradley 4/10 up and losing a little bit of time here to Rye Jones. Bradley still looking for his first win of the season. Evan Pienza, the number 55 machine. He's up 8 spots, running 4th. Looking to make it back-to-back here. I want to focus on this 12th place battle as well. There's Jeremy Rigney, the number 10 machine. Right behind him, that's Ray B, Patrick Hargrove side by side. You can also see Chase Berry and Tony Caputo side by side. But you can pan the camera from 1st to about 20th, and you're going to find great racing across the track here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jones sitting in 2nd, Waller in 3rd. They're trying to whittle away at the gap that Jacob Bradley holds, but Bradley still 3/10 up over the rest of the field. 25 laps into this feature event. As what happened there, Chad Waller must have grabbed the wall a little bit as he is losing fistfuls of time. Now Evan Pienza is going to have another shot at 3rd. Waller has fallen back by about 3/4 of a second from Jones. A 3-truck battle for 8th. Robert Brobes, Chris Smith, and Peter Stewart. Stewart and Smith side by side trying to get around Brobes in that number 5 machine. And we do have a caution coming out, trying to see where it's from. I think maybe Jeremy Rigney might be tied up in that one. That seems to be the case as the field checks up. Grab a replay, see what happened to that number 10 Toyota. That's not the camera angle we were looking for. Try that once more here. Definitely Rigney involved. It looked like Rigney got a shove. Trying to see who else was involved in that one. Looked like maybe the 38 of Simmons. Try to get an enhanced angle here. That was the 89 machine tied up in that one. 74 also taking a good hearty hit. That was Ray Beam and I think Patrick Hargrove involved in that one with Jeremy Rigney. And that will bring out the first caution of the evening, and we're going to see this field come down pit road following Jacob Bradley resetting the field here. Our first caution, 27 laps in. Looks like Ashton Cosner in the 34 machine is going to be the lone driver staying out here. Interesting move by Cosner as the rest of the field behind him looks like everybody's taking 4 fresh tires and a full tank of gas. No, Cosner's going to come in behind the rest of the field, maybe realizing, hey, maybe I shouldn't be up front. But getting credit for a lap led here. So your front row is going to be Jacob Bradley, Rye Jones, Chad Waller, Evan Pienta will make up the second row, Richard Holland and Brian Bropes the third row. Right now, a hard charger out on track looks to be Chase Berry, number 46 Toyota Tundra. He is up 16 positions, running 8th out on track. Now, Bradley last week at Daytona brought home an 8th. After being involved in a couple of the incidents at Daytona International. So Bradley trying to get some momentum going and built back up in his favor this season. About 51 laps left to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Got the field set behind our iRacing safety car. There's Jacob Bradley, qualified on pole, holding on to the race lead here today. Get ready for that iRacing safety car to make its way down pit road. There we go. The start will be on Jacob Bradley. And we are green flag racing once more, the Spark Truck Series. Bradley with a big launch. Looks like that's going to be Evan Pienta and Chad Waller duking it out for that third place. I saw some positions hopping around here, but looks like the start's going to be good. Pienta up top, Waller down low. A big run there out of Evan Pienta. Now drivers have some fresh tires underneath them, so they're going to be having a little bit easier time trying to make some passes happen until we see those lap times plateau again. Also, that's the 31 of Richard Holland side by side with Chad Waller. There's a whole lot going on here as I saw a big blink for the number 11 of Brian Bropes. Bropes right kind of in the meat grinder here as he is watching and pulling up alongside Chad Waller. Chris Smith side by side, Richard Holland right here in the mix. Jacob Bradley still holding on to the race lead, but not by much. Less than two tenths of a second in the favor of that number 50 machine. Waller going to try and work the inside line, but on the high side, that number 28, Chris Smith, had the fastest lap of the race the lap prior. And this caution has definitely bunched the field back up. Richard Holland, Evan Pienta side by side. That is going to be the battle for third right in focus. You can see Waller, Brope, Smith, Cosner. Uh-oh, something happened to Waller. A massive blink. So when that happens, other drivers can't see where the truck is going to reappear at. And if a driver has a big blink like that and reappears where they might be contacting another driver, things can get rapidly fast. And when drivers are hitting speeds of excess of 180 miles an hour along the banks of Atlanta Motor Speedway, it is tough to make any last-ditch effort saves there. As it looks like Brian Brobes trying to stick his nose in to see if he can get that number 11 machine further up towards the front. Tags a little bit of grass there. And I think Brobes is feeling some pressure because Chris Smith, Devin Jack, Sam Cosner, and Robert Brobes. Oh no, a big blink for Brian Brobes as well. That is the last thing we want to see when drivers are in such a tight pack like this. Jacob Bradley, your race leader, might have the safest seat in the house as it looks like something has happened. Chad Waller tags the outside wall. Safety barrier gets slowed way, way down. Waller falls all the way back to 15th here. 16th, so he's now down 10 positions. It looks like Waller tagged the wall. I'm not sure if that was the case. Maybe he was trying to get out of danger's way and saying, hey, I feel a crash getting ready to happen up front and I want out of this pack. We'll try and get confirmation on that for the fans at home. Bradley still has a 4/10 advantage. Jones, Holland, Pienta, and Devin Jack rounding out the top 5. Looks like that's going to be Sam Cosner in the 00. Chris Smith battling for 7th. You can also see Robert Brobst and Tony Caputo battling for 9th right behind, and up there is the battle for 2nd. Richard Holland, that 31 machine, will lock in the 2nd place position. Does he have the legs to try and track down Jacob Bradley? Bradley's been running extremely clean here. Bradley wants this thing to go green start to finish. I think every time there's a caution, it puts Bradley's number 50 machine right back in the vortex of danger. And man, this top 3 keeps swapping all around here tonight. There's Jones and Pienta. If Pienta can lock his way up in a 3rd, that'll be the 9th position gain for the 55. Drivers will be displayed the cross green and white flags this time by, signaling the halfway mark of today's main event, the Spark Truck Series Round 2 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Brian Brobst, number 11. Gotta say, over the last few seasons, calling Mr. Brobst Brian Brobst in a couple of different series, good to see the constant improvement out of that number 11 machine. Last week at Daytona, Brian was able to lock up a 2nd at the High Bank Super Speedway. But it's good to see him a often contender in the top 5. Now he's going to have his work cut out for him here at Atlanta as Devin Jack slides by, and it looks like Chris Smith trying to make something happen, the 28 machine. Brian Brobst trying to tuck in behind Chris Smith. There is Robert Brobst, the number 5 machine, trying to pull up alongside that number 11. He's got Sam Cosner, Tony Caputo, and Peter Stewart in tow. Looks like they're going to line up single file here for a little bit. But Sam Cosner might have other plans than the double zero. Cosner looks to go low. Finds the way, blocked by Brian Bropes. And has to build up a little bit more steam with Caputo and Stewart right behind him. Now up front, Jacob Bradley has a little bit of pressure. Richard Holland and Evan Pienta have linked back up with that race leading number 50 machine. Holland running second, Pienta running third. Both within a half second, as it looks like Holland trying to make something happen there in the 31. We might see a battle for the lead shaping up. Now these top three have built up 6 tenths of an advantage over Rye Jones sitting in fourth, but behind Jones, an absolute freight train of drivers. So if Bradley, Holland, and Pienta spend too much time battling here, I think the rest of the field's going to catch up. You can already see Jones trying to track down these top three. Barnyard Flagman watching on here at Atlanta. A very healthy grid for the second round of the season. As they're playing a little bit of a dancing game here. Pienta trying to find an opening against Holland. And these three drivers have actually built up a little bit of time over Rye Jones. Now the top three has 3/4 of a second over fourth place back. And Holland and Jones are going to go side by side here. 1/4 of a second off the back bumper of Jacob Bradley. Pienta down low, Holland up high. And we're going to have a caution coming out. I think Peter Stewart is going to be involved in that one, the 91 machine, as he quickly gets off the racing line. And that will bring out the second caution of the night. Let's see what happened to Stewart. Here's the number 7 machine, and 2 trucks occupying the same spot. Puts Stewart into the wall very hard there. Man, I'm not sure how the rest of the field is able to get through that one. Good defensive driving from the rest of the drivers. So that was Peter Stewart, the 91 machine. And Rye Jones, the number 7, who was running fourth at the time. And that's going to re-rack him with about 34 laps left to go here. I would imagine we're going to see the drivers come back down pit road. Let's see, does anybody stay out? Bob Belshaw, Robert Amaral looks to stay out. Belshaw, the number 44, Amaral, the number 99. If they come back down pit road, because that would show Jacob Bradley starting third. Second row inside for this second restart. Going to see if Belshaw and Amaral come down pit road, or if they're going to stay out and maybe try something a little bit different, getting off strategy from the rest of the field. Looks like Amaral is going to come down pit road. But Bob Belshaw opts to stay out here. Jay Grajewski coming back down pit road. Peter Stewart staying with extended repairs. I'm afraid we're not going to see that 91 machine back out on track in a while with the smoke billowing out the front of that 91 machine. I fear his night may be over. Now we're going to see what Belshaw can do on 20 lap older tires. With this strategy, he is up. It's showing 22 positions. Actually, you know, I take that back when I mentioned tires. Bradley, Smith, Cosner showing second, third, and fourth, all showing less than an 8-second pit stop. So they either took 2 tires or just fuel. So it is going to be Richard Hall in the 31 machine. He's going to be starting 6th. The first driver in line that I know for certain took 4 tires on that stop. But we've got a little bit of strategy at play here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now drivers have a max of 2 tire changes available. As Richard Holland, the 31 machine, back down pit road. That's going to put Rye Jones. Will be starting 6th at number 7. The most forward driver with 4 fresh tires underneath him. Going to send him around one final time, then get it started back up. It's going to be 30 laps left to go on the green flag. Car will be on Mr. Bob Belshaw, the 44 Chevrolet, opting to stay out. Going to be 20 laps shorter on fuel than the rest of the field. Safety car will be coming in this time by. And we are green flag racing once more. Oh, and a huge checkup. Belshaw gets hit from behind, and it's a crash waiting to happen. How did they say that? Look at Johnny Rapp, I think that was, in the 52, flopping all over the place, able to save it. The drivers are not going to be pleased about that one. That was an absolutely butchered start, as the inside line just did not get going. And then it was a high-speed game of accordion. Rye Jones showing as your race leader, the number 7 machine, side by side with Jacob Bradley. But here comes Brian Brobes, the number 11 machine, to interject himself in the top 3. Brian Brobes is going to take over the race lead here. Brobes side by side with Rye Jones. There's Evan Pienza, the number 55 machine. These 3 drivers are going to try and hammer down, get away from the rest of the field. I'm still astounded we didn't see a caution after that start. A huge tip of the hat and virtual thumbs up to the drivers who were able to keep that race going there. I thought for certain we were going to see a pile up right in the start-finish line. Brian Brobes holding on to the race lead. Where is Jacob Bradley? He is back in 4th. Bradley 3/4 of a second back from the top 3 now, in a position that he was not expecting here, as Brobes, Jones, and Pienza trying to get going. They want to get away from the rest of the field and get as much open track as they can. I wonder if something happened to Bradley here. He's fallen back in that number 50 machine. Losing a spot to Ray Beebe, and looks like possibly Devin Jack as well. Something is amiss there for the number 50 Chevrolet. Devin Jack, Ray Beebe are going to slide up into 4th and 5th. There's Mark Fish, longtime friend of mine, that number 13 Ford F-150. He's worked his way up 19 positions into 6th. Fish tucked in behind Ray Beeb's 89 machine. Brian Brope still your race leader, but he's been having connection issues for the duration of this main event. Chad Waller's going to get around Jacob Bradley, moving up into 7th. Fish with fresh tires underneath him. Going up alongside Ray Beeb. Now looks like everybody inside the top 6 all have 4 fresh tires underneath them here. But Fish having a big run. He's moved up now into 5th, and you can see he is closing the ground to Devin Jack's number 49 machine. "25 laps left to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway." Fish makes it 21 positions grabbed. Now we haven't seen a full fuel run out of these drivers yet. 27 laps is about the most we've seen under green flag conditions. And that was during a caution we saw those drivers come in. So now the big question is, how long can these drivers go on fuel, as now Chad Waller is going to fire back against Mark Fish's number 13 machine. Waller down low, right behind them there's Robert Brobes, Devin Jack side by side. Like Fish and Waller playing a little bit of game of leapfrog here, the backstretch of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Waller able to carry a little bit more speed, running that mid to high line. And now Robert Brobes, Devin Jack, 6th and 7th, starting to rejoin the fray here and see if they can put their trucks into a top 5 position. Up front is still Brian Brobes, Rye Jones, and Evan Piento, 1, 2, 3. Jacob Bradley, we talked about him all race. He's fallen all the way back to 11th here, down 10 spots. We got Tyler the Talent joining us in the spectator area. Always good seeing Tyler coming out. Cooler when we see him out on track, but we'll take the spectator area when the opportunity arises. Chad Waller, Robert Probst have moved up into 4th and 5th. Fish has fallen back to 8th. Now 4th place back, they're about 3.1 seconds back from the top 3 drivers. That is going to be a lot of work for these guys to try and reel in Probst, Jones, and Pienta. Now Brian Probst in 1st and Evan Pienta in 3rd, both up 9 positions from where they originally started. Everybody inside looks to be about the top 6, all on the same fuel and tire strategy here. Devin Jack, giving a shove to Robert Probst, pushing that number 5 machine a little bit closer to Chad Waller, 66. Brian Probst, your race leader, still having connection issues, but thankfully for him, he's out front and not in this meat grinder we see from about 5th place back. Looks like Evan Pienta trying to make a pass on Rye Jones's number 7 machine. There's Brian Probst out front. Now we talked on how improved Brian Probst has been over the last few seasons. Really cool seeing that number 11 machine lead some laps. Brian Probst coming off a 2nd place at the season opener at Daytona. Looking for that first season win. Evan Pienta, the number 55 on camera, looking to be the first driver with a back-to-back here this season as he's trying to work that inside line against Rye Jones. Just not quite able to squeeze that 55 machine in there. Chad Waller, Devin Jack, Robert Probst, a 3-truck battle for 4th. You've also got Chase Berry right in the mix here. There's Robert Probst and Jack side by side. Berry watching along in that 46 Toyota Tundra. Now we think Barry did a splash and go on lap 49. Looks like he took a little bit extra fuel, maybe thinking he can make this thing to the end if we go green. But the rest of the field throwing haymakers at each other. We are very much racing still. Robert Brobst takes the line back from Devin Jack. Things are starting to bunch up here from 4th place back. Brian Brobst, your race leader. He looks like he's going to have some company as well. Rye Jones has closed the gap to within 2/10. And Evan Pienta locked in behind as well. Now we know Brian Brobst is using up a little bit more fuel in that number 11 machine, running up front, pushing the air all by his lonesome. And here we go. This is what we were waiting for with 15 laps left to go. We've got a battle for the lead. It's Brian Brobst, Rye Jones, Evan Pienta. 1, 2, 3. Jones trying to rip the high line in Atlanta, pulling up alongside Brobst. He's got about a half truck length ahead of that number 11. Oh, and a big blink there from Brobst. That is the last thing Pienta wants, that number 55 machine. Pienta trying to follow the number 7 of Jones. And just like that, Jones and Pienta take over the top 2 spots. Brian Brobst falls back to 3rd. Oh, if this thing can keep going, we've got some good racing ahead of us. 14 laps left to go. Jeremy Rigney comes down pit road. I'm wondering if he's thinking we're not going to have enough fuel to make it till the end. So 2 very distinct battles. You've got Jones, Pienta, and Brian Brobst, 1, 2, 3. We pan the camera back to Chad Waller. He's got a whole lot of talent behind him. Waller running 4th. He's got Robert Brobst, Chase Berry, Devin Jack, Mark Fish, Richard Holland right behind him. Looks like Brian Brobst falling back slightly from these top 2 drivers. He does not want to lose the draft off of Pienta's number 55 machine. It's Chevrolet running 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Chad Waller in 4th is our fastest Ford out on track. And Chase Berry sitting 6th, who's also our hard charger, is our fastest Toyota Tundra out on the asphalt. Jones and Pienta have built up about a half second over Brian Brobst, trying to get themselves a little bit of breathing room. Now Jones and Pienta are in a driver's channel together. But maybe doing a little bit of teamwork here to try and shake off Brian Brobst. That way it can be a 2-truck shootout by the time it's all said and done. But it's going to be 10 laps to go this time by. How are these drivers looking on fuel? Because things are all but decided from about 4th place back. Waller, Brobst, Berry, Jack, all trying to shimmy around each other here. 10 laps left to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Well, a big run there by Chase Berry. The 46 picks up a spot from Robert Brobst. Almost looks to make it 2 against Chad Waller. Not quite able to do so. Waller holding on to 4th. He's about 1.8 seconds back from 3rd place Brian Brobst. Chase Berry, Robert Brobst side by side. Here comes the 49 of Devin Jack. Now, are we going to see a last-ditch mad rush down pit road? Keep an eye out. Chase Berry topped off that number 46 machine. try and prepare himself to make it till the end here. Rye Jones, Evan Pienta, Brian Brooks, still 1, 2, 3. Now the lap times have really dropped off. Last time by Jones, a 32.93, 1.7 seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race. Is this not quite? Yeah, a little over 26 laps on these tires. So is that the effects of tire wear? Or are we seeing drivers starting to fuel save a little bit here? Now we think Chase Berry might be in the best spot as far as fuel goes. And Berry keeping the pressure down as he tries to pull up alongside Chad Waller. Looks like he's going to pull up alongside. Can't quite get the pass completed yet. Oh, and they are bumping and grinding. There's Devin Jack, the 49 machine. He wants a piece of this top 5 action. Robert Brobes, Richard Holland in this pack as well. There's Robert Brobes working the low line, trying to make something happen against Devin Jack, but he's got Richard Holland in the 31 machine who's going to have good speed down the backstretch into turn 3. We know Barry has the fuel. There's Dave Grajewski coming down pit road. We know Barry we think he has the fuel. Does he have the tire? 5 laps left to go at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's still Jones, Pienta, Brobes, Brian Brobes. 1, 2, 3. Looks like Chad Waller and Chase Berry starting to catch up here to Brian Brobes sitting in 3rd. Now, if we can take the white flag without a caution, we will finish this thing under green. If not, we will go into green-white checker overtime conditions. 4 laps left to go here at Atlanta. Right now, you're watching Chase Berry and Devin Jack in a fierce battle for 5th. There are Hartcharger. He's up 19 positions. He's trying to close in on Chad Waller's 66 machine, but getting absolutely harassed there by Jack in the 49. Here comes Berry working the inside line against Waller. Waller fires back, carrying just a little bit more momentum through 3 and 4. And you can see they're starting to catch up. There's Brian Brobes, the number 11 machine, sitting in 3rd. Jones and Pienta have pulled a 2.3 second gap up front. 3 laps left to go. Is Berry going to be able to catch up to Brian Brobes? Who's got the fuel to make it till the end here? Devin Jack working the inside line against Chad Waller, the 31 of Richard Holland, enjoying the show in front of him. Holland knows if there's much of a mistake ahead of him, might be able to wiggle his way into a podium contention. 2 laps left to go. Jones and Pienta, 2.4 seconds up over the rest of the field. We're watching Chase Berry, Chad Waller, Devin Jack, Richard Holland, and a frantic battle for 4th. Now, for a while, Berry was closing the gap to Brian Brobes, but Brobes has extended that gap back to about 6/10 in his favor. 2 laps left to go. Berry really needs something to happen here if he wants a shot at a podium. Now, your top 2 of Jones and Pienta, they are gone. White flag is out here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. No more cautions. This is how we're going to bring it home. Jones and Pienta heading down the backstretch at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're watching Waller and Jack side by side for 5th. And here we go. There is Rye Jones. Is going to pick up the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Evan Pienta getting 2nd. And Brian Brobes will round out the top 3. Rye Jones gonna burn it down for the fans here at Atlanta. Second race of the season and second winner of the season. Jones finished 9th last week at Daytona, so good to see him coming out strong and picking up the first win, his first win at the Sparks Truck Series. There's the number 11 of Brian Probst burning it down on track. I think Evan Pienza, yeah, he's there as well. So the top three really soaking up the limelight here. And a well-deserved win for Mr. Rye Jones. Looks like we're starting to get some drivers up here to victory lane. Gotta get, I think we're waiting on Rye Jones here. We're going to start things off with Mr. Brian Probst, the number 11 machine. Brian, back-to-back podiums here at the Sparks Truck Series. We were talking about in the broadcast, over watching you through different leagues in the last couple seasons. Major improvement every time you're out on track.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was praying there was going to be no questions there at the end. I was like, man. So I knew I got out front. I was trying to do my best at saving tires. I'm not the best at saving tires, but I was like, well, it looks like I should have a third, and I was able to hold off for third. So I'm tickled pink.
Now, Atlanta, known for being very aggressive on tires. What do you have to do throughout the run to try and save? I would assume it's the front right at this track, correct?
Yes. I was just rolling the bottom. I know if you put more input on the outside, you burn more tires. So I just try to roll the bottom best that I can. Try to keep the steering wheel straight. Try to get that. You try to kick the car out, and so it's driving on the right rear instead of the right front. But yeah, I was trying. But I was just tickled pink with a top three. I was, whew.
Yeah, top three, back-to-back podiums, major points for you and the team, and a clean race truck where we saw a lot of drivers plagued by a few little issues that kind of compounded. So, all in all, a great night for you in the number 11. And, Brian, before I let you go, you're getting good at this part. Who do you want to give a shout to? Any fans, friends, or sponsors that helped you bring home the podium here today?
My girlfriend's probably watching this on YouTube, so I'm gonna thank her and thank everyone that put this on. Jacob Bradley, my cousin Robert. But yeah, I'd like to thank you too for broadcasting us.
Well, couldn't do it without you guys, Brian. It's always an absolute pleasure talking to you, buddy. And again, congratulations on back-to-back podiums and a solid third tonight here in Atlanta.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Brian Probst bringing it home and third. Up next, no stranger to the podium, Evan Pienza. Welcome back, back-to-back. Great results for you in the 55 machine. Up 10 positions from where he started. So when did you start realizing, hey, I've got a shot at a really good finish here?
I mean, kind of in that first run, I didn't really qualify where I'd like to, so I think from that point I realized kind of just try and save some stuff is just be a little more conservative while still passing cars in that first run. Kind of let the guys ahead burn their stuff up, and kind of what ended up happening there was like fourth or sixth around there, top five, and then the caution came out. Was able to run that second stint out, kind of maintain my position up there, and then that one last caution came out, and kind of was. Well, I knew I was gonna pit, and I almost unchecked my tires, and then decided last minute recheck them, and kind of slid through my box, so lost a bunch of time there. But then got lucky with the that chaotic restart there. The whole inside line got checked up, and I was fortunately on the outside, so was able to get by all that and kind of just battle it out with Ryan and the 11 up there, and then it just kind of came down to the end of it. But I think it was I think my going into it, didn't really have any high expectations, but slowly as the race went on, I was gain confidence.
Well, I mean, back-to-back momentum, and yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that pit stop. We showed you about almost 4 full seconds slower than everybody else off the line there, off the pit stall. So did you just slide through the box, coming a little bit hot? Is that what happened?
It was try sliding. Well, entering pit road, pit line, turn my tire, uncheck my tires. About 5 stalls ahead, decided to recheck them. Was trying to turn in and stop while trying to recheck my tires. Slid through, had to back up, and it only checked my right side, so I had to check the left sides and take those and change those. So added a little bit extra time, and then after that, before the all the chaos and that restart, I kind of committed to myself saying, "Hey, we're just gonna take them really easy this time, and whether a caution was going to come out or not, just try and have somewhat of an advantage over some of the field at the end there." But
Evan, it worked out well for you all in all. Walked into tonight as the points leader, should be leaving as the points leader, I believe, as well. So great run for you in the 55 machine. And before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make the podium possible for you?
all the Spark guys putting the league on, you for putting the broadcast on, my payday racing teammates. I know there's a lot of us. My design company, Ampiente Designs, finished second in my sponsored race. And Epic Machinery on the truck.
Awesome. Evan, always a pleasure, buddy. Hope to have you back up here next weekend. And again, congratulations on a hard-fought second.
Thank you.
That was Evan Pienza bringing it home in second. But up next for the first time this season, welcome Rye Jones. A great run. And I know Daytona didn't go how you wanted, but you have to be ecstatic with how things ended at Atlanta Motor Speedway here today.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. A lot of times when it comes down to, we only have two sets of tires, and when it came down to that strategy, a lot of times it doesn't really work in my favor. There'll usually be another caution where people can pit and take their tires, and then they'll beat me. But this time it kind of worked, so I'm really happy about that.
Now, Rye, coming into tonight, it's a fresh season, round two, a relative new group of racers. Some have battled together a bunch, and some guys are brand new going door to door. Were you pleased with how clean things were at Atlanta, or did you expect it to go a little bit rougher, or what were the expectations?
I'm really happy because, this old Atlanta, I love that we can still race here on iRacing because it's a very tough track. For a mile and a half, the surface is old, the tires wear really fast, and you just have to know how to run your line and save as much as you can for the longest time possible. So if you have a good long run, it will prevail. And I've learned that from a lot of people. Jacob Bradley does really good at it, and a few of my other payday teammates, and I would not be here without their help. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race. I mean, at any point, you could throw a blanket over the top three, if not the top five. Able to pull about 4/10 at the end there, but, I mean, for the while, it was you, Pienta, Bropes, Barry, Waller. I mean, everybody had a shot at it. And at what point in the race did you realize, all right, I've got a really good, solid chance of winning this thing?
Well, when it came down to that last pit stop, I knew there was the chance. I just knew that if it could stay green, I knew I could save. I was talking with Robst earlier before he talked to y'all, and he definitely knew he was wearing them a little bit fast to try and get up front. And I knew if I could just manage myself and take my time, my real challenge was going to be Evan. And we had a tough battle going on there, and I tried to. I'm not a very calm driver. Most people will know that, but I was able to keep my cool this time, and it ended up working out. And when it came to about 10 to go, and it was still green, I said, "Man, if everything holds true, I'm confident I got this in the bag."
All right, that was a ton of fun to watch. It's really cool having you up here in the top spot for the first time this season. Hopefully many more to come for you in that number 7 machine. And tonight you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the evening. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make this first win possible for you?
Well, you guys for putting on a great show, first of all. I can't wait to watch the replay. And then I got to thank, all my teammates for letting me still run with them all the time. Thank everybody that tunes in and watches us do this because, we definitely have a lot of fun with it, and we love to put on a good show.
Awesome, Rye. Congratulations again, my friend. Hope to have you back up here a bunch more this season. And again, congrats on a huge first win.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was Rye Jones bringing it home in the top spot, round 2 of the Spark Truck Series. He was accompanied by Evan Pienta in second, and Brian Probst rounding out the top 3. On behalf of the Spark Truck Series with the Spark Racing League, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for spending your Wednesday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.